people. Difficulties having a little bit of help. Thank you for joining my show. My name is my channel. Tonight is going to be the second episode of the Khaotic conversation. My guests are going to add on one at a time. Hello, Chris. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. You're cutting in and out a little bit. It's clearing up. It's better.
Oh.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Better now?
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
I apologize.
Well, it's all right. How you doing tonight, Danny?
All right.
Thank you for having me on.
I'm doing all right. As always, not a problem. Next is Mr. Sean Stackhouse. How you?
What's going on, guys? Hope everybody's had a great, what is today? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? I lose track.
It's a day of the week.
Hope you've had a great day.
Next is Mr.
Well, you muted yourself, Danny.
Oh, yep.
No, on your down below.
Yeah, on the actual program.
Up and on and off.
Okay.
How you doing there, Terrence? Is that better?
Terrence is muted now, too.
Terrence, can you hear me?
Uh-oh. Huh.
Mama Bear, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. I don't know what's going on, man. Mike's going out, this and that and the other.
No, your mic's fine. I think it showed on StreamYard.
Yeah, you hit the button down below where it says mute next to stop camera.
Terrence, can you hear us?
Terrence,
can you hear us? Well, I'm going to go around the room.
Oh, he dropped out. He'll be
Chris, we'll go ahead and start with you. Tell the people where they can find you at, sir.
Well, you can find me on The Real Review 3000, and soon as we get 100 subscribers or more, somewhere around there, you can find the three of us, Sean, myself, and Danny, over on Chaos Central's YouTube channel. I'll have Sean here drop the link here in just a minute. But yeah, you can find us over there where we will be having the Khaotic conversation, the Chaos List, and the Rule of Three, which are the three shows that we have designed for Chaos Central. But yeah, you can find me on The Real Review 3000 on YouTube or on Twitter at ChrisKnight5150. And we're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers right now. We're 104 away. So
good deal.
Yes, yeah.
And Sean, tell the people where they can find you at as well, sir.
You can find me at Sean Stackhouse Reacts here on YouTube, and on Twitter you can find me at Sean Stackhouse. I'm going to drop that link for the Chaos Central YouTube in chat right now. So please, everybody, go and make sure you subscribe to the Chaos Central YouTube page, because all of these videos that we're doing on our separate channels are being uploaded onto Chaos Central's YouTube page. And like Chris said, as soon as we can hit like 100 subs or so, we can get our vanity name, Chaos Central, or whatever we want to call it at that point in time. And then we're going to start broadcasting live, 3 nights a week on that actual platform.
Good deal. Next is Mad's Mama Bear. Tell the people Mama Bear.
Hey, Mad's Mama Bear here. You can find me at Mad's Mama Bear both on Twitter and on YouTube. Also Thursday nights, you can find me on the Queen's Council. This week it'll be hosted by According to Christy. That's Thursdays, 9:30 Eastern.
And last but not least is Mr. Parents. Tell the people.
Oh, hey, what's going on, humans? It's Terrence. You can find me on the Tremaine Terrence channel that I share with my brother Tremaine.
Terrence is without
All
a
right.
Twitter. He refuses to get a Twitter.
Yeah, I'm not getting a fucking Twitter.
And of course, my name is Danny. Host tonight. Comment Chat's my channel. This is the Chaotic Conversation, which is the first show of the on the Chaotic Central channel, involving myself, Chris, and Sean. This is the second episode. A little technical difficulties. I'm kind of green at this, but I will get it as I go. As always, if this is the first time viewing my channel, I want you to please subscribe. I want to ask you to also please give me a thumbs up. I also ask you to please hit notification bell because I don't want you to miss any material that I upload in the future. Tonight, I was trying to think of what can we talk about that conversation. Those of you that follow me know that Endgame is definitely one of my favorite Marvel movie. And I was saying, what would happen if Thanos was right here to my right or left, looking at it? What if he went up against Justice League, instead of the Avengers? Would they be any more successful? Would they be harder? Would they be easier to cope with? Was able to defeat him, and he did the snap. Would they use some of the same measures and time traveling measures that the Avengers used, or what would they do to try to repair the damage that Thanos did with the snap? So, because of a later on commitment, I'm gonna let Chris Knight go first and tell me what he thinks if Thanos, the Mad Titan, against Justice League instead of the Avengers.
Yeah. Well, I know Sean's going to go a little off the typical standard Justice League people. There's a lot of people in Justice League. There's a lot of reserves, things like that. I'm going to stick with just the straightforward main characters of Justice League, primarily because that's kind of what the Avengers did. They had some off ones, but the main fighting was with the main Avengers.
I'm
not saying
you're assuming you're going off of the movie.
Well, no. But that's what we're talking about. In this case, I don't know. Ask Danny.
Nowhere in the write-up did it say this had to be movie-based.
Okay, well, that's what I'm going off of. So it doesn't matter whichever way you want to go into. I'll just go because I don't know. Danny, are you talking more the movie or the comic books or what? I mean, because I guess that's something I'd like to know. I mean,
what was the question again?
Well, are you talking more about taking this in the vein of the movie?
Based on what we see from the movie characters,
okay,
Justice League versus what we saw in Avengers. If you want to add some characters that we didn't see in Justice League, that's fine. But the core Justice League as we know it against the core Avengers and whoever.
Okay. Well, basically, here's the thing. I think that the Justice League would have an easier time with Thanos than the Avengers had. There's some similar, I guess I don't know about totally similar, but there's some similar qualities between the two. But there's two, I would say there's definitely three main characters of the Justice League that would make it an easier time. And those three, of course, are the big ones, and that's Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. Batman has always struck me kind of like Iron Man, except for it's not a suit, but the intellectual side of things like that. But resourcefulness, I would think that Bruce Wayne or Batman, his smarts, his book smarts and all that would allow him to attack Thanos in this situation much differently than how the Avengers handled it. I don't know. I always felt like the Avengers were more trying to fight brute force with brute force. Batman's always been known as kind of, I don't want to say he takes things as they come, but he certainly is more analytical about a situation than, say, Tony Stark, who is all balls to the wall. Let's take the fight to them and all that. And I'm not sure if that's the right way to handle Thanos. If you watch all the movies and all with all the chaos, all the stones, all of that, Thanos is rather methodical about it. He knows what he's doing. He has a plan. He's had this time to think about it. I think that's kind of how Bruce Wayne, Batman, would handle it too. He'd kind of be thinking, okay, I know what he wants to do. I know what he's trying to do. So what we have to figure out right up front is, where are all these stones? And they do the same thing, but he's going to find a way. I think it's going to be him that finds a way to formulate a much better plan than what we kind of see Doctor Strange say in Infinity War, where he says, I only see one way to win, that type of thing. I think he's going to figure out something ahead of time and not guess at it. Because I think that, again, Doctor Strange isn't really telling anybody what it is. And that in the movie, we weren't able to really know. We just know that he says there is a way. Superman alone, I think, totally changes the tide on this. And it's just because it's a much different situation with him than it is most of the Avengers. If you look at the way the powers he has, his abilities, and all of that, it's one character that has it with the Justice League, and it's several characters that have some of those abilities on the Avengers. That gives you a big power play right there. I thought about it with Wonder Woman, and the fact that let's go with the situation where they're trying to take the gauntlet off of him in Infinity War, and they're fighting and they're getting close to getting it off, but he overpowers them. And at the moment that they start doing that, I thought about the lasso of truth. Now, depending on how you want to say it, lasso of truth, if it causes pain. Now, yes, Thanos is not somebody who lies about what he's doing. He in the movie, he's very straightforward, tells everybody what he's going to do, why he's doing it. But I have a feeling that the lasso of truth might work in a situation like that if used in the right way. Now, I'm not positive about that, but I was thinking that if there was a way to cause more pain, to give him a little more weakness, because all they were doing is really fighting him and trying to hold him down, and eventually he overpowers them for a multitude of different reasons. I think those three right there make it a lot easier for the Justice League. And like I said, there's a lot of different people, Green Lantern's in it, but he's a reserve member. Green Arrow, Hawk Girl, Mr. Terrific. I mean, there's a lot of others. So it depends. If you're talking about the core, though, Flash right there, I mean, I can't remember. Quicksilver is dead by the time they get to this movie, so he's not involved. But that's basically, a Flash type character. Flash would be there. Cyborg, there's different qualities with the characters that are on the core base of Justice League that are much different than what you have in the Avengers. And I think just the combined thing, and again, I think Superman's a trump card in this because it's so much different than anything you get in the Avengers. I mean, yeah, you got the Hulk, but the Hulk is primarily just pure power. And he's also somebody who transforms. So once Thanos hits the Hulk and the Hulk decides to go away and doesn't want to come back, that's the thing. Well, that's not what Superman's going to have happen to him. Superman might take a hit, but he's still Superman. And unless Thanos was preparing for this with kryptonite or something, I don't think that that's going to be something that's going to bother Superman. Superman can take a hit, and Superman would keep going. I don't think, I'm trying to remember, I don't think there's any character that has actually hurt or actually defeated Superman, like killed him or something like that, that actually is. I think they're all actually much stronger than Thanos.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say hypothetically that Thanos gets the Infinity Stones and the Gauntlet, and how would that change the dynamic of what you just said?
Well, if he gets them all and he does get the snap, I don't think he even gets that far, truthfully. I don't. Again, the Justice League is so much different than the Avengers in the way that they're formed, the different abilities of the people on them. I mean, because really think about it, Steve Rogers, he has super serum in him, but there's no real major power. He is stronger, he's faster, he has a lot of those things, but he's still human. The Hulk, he can be, he's human, but it's mostly strength, and that's about it. Iron Man is a machine that can be defeated through several different ways, but he himself is just a man, smart, but so there's a lot of more human aspects than there are actually superhuman aspects. When you think about the Justice League, Superman, Flash, Wonder Woman, and Aquaman all they're more than just human. Some of them are descendant from gods, depending on how you want to look at it, because Wonder Woman's story has changed over the years. But if he did do the snap, if he got there, and you're asking, do they handle it the same way? I say no. I would say, I mean, again, you could go off, I don't know. Again, it's mixing universes with the way I think. I've never seen Superman, and Sean, correct me if I'm wrong, but in the comic books, I've never seen Superman turn back time, has he?
Not
on the movies.
What? Yeah, but in the movie, that's what I'm saying. So depending on how you want to take it.
But you don't need Superman to turn back time when you have Flash.
That's true. Because again, the Flash, and so do they make a time machine? No, I don't think they make a time machine. Could they use some sort of time travel? They might. And I think with Bruce Wayne and some thought into it, that they could probably do something where they get right back to the beginning before the snap.
All they would have to do is harness the Speed Force, and sort of like we saw in Crisis, where everybody was inside the Speed Force, waiting out the anti-monitor. And if they could ride that Speed Force back to a specific point in time before Thanos got his glove and his gems, then story's over.
Well, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think that they could go back to a moment right before, and they'd know what they did wrong, kind of like they were originally thinking of doing, until Thor decides to decapitate him. If you haven't seen it, sorry, spoiler alert.
So to make sure I'm clear, you're on the side that Justice League would not have as much problems as the Avengers have.
Oh, I don't even think he gets the snap off. I'm not even sure if he gets all the chaos, if he gets all the stones. Infinity Stones. I keep on saying chaos because of damn Sonic. Infinity Stones. I don't think he gets all the Infinity Stones. I think that there's
so basically,
I just think Justice League is much smarter than the Avengers, if you want me to put it that way.
I want to make sure I got it. Basically, what you're saying, that Thanos to the Justice League would be just a slight irritant, but nothing they would worry about.
Oh, I won't say that they wouldn't worry about it. They worry about anybody that poses a threat to Earth or other domains. And they would, again, worry is, I don't know, they would treat him with the thought that he was after harming people, and that they would.
I don't mean it literally. I mean, like, basically, compared to the Avengers, they would handle it in a much quicker and orderly fashion.
Oh, I think so. And I think and you said orderly. I think they would be much more organized about it.
Right.
Because.
And do you think that Thanos is a more dangerous threat than Darkseid?
Darkseid? No.
You think Thanos is more?
Thanos to me always came across as he's strong, he's powerful, but I don't know. He's kind of like maybe stronger than the Hulk. He doesn't have a ton of things. When you talk about on the DC side with DC characters and stuff, they pose a much stronger and more powerful threat in general. I think until you get to like the elementals of Marvel, where you're talking about gods or demigods and things like that, you're not really getting into anything that would pose a major threat to something like the Justice League. When you start getting to the gods and the elementals and things like that, kind of like Ego was in Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, I think they've downplayed what he could do because he's a part of the gods and the elementals and all that. That goes in, and I think they're going to go into that in this phase. Those are much stronger than Thanos. And in fact, the way I've always heard it is if they had wanted to stop him, they could have. They didn't. It didn't. It was like, well, we don't care. It doesn't affect us. We're not going to be bothered by this. So, I just think Thanos is not nearly as much of a threat to the Justice League.
That was actually Eternity that didn't care, not the rest of the Celestials.
Thank you. Yeah, but Sean probably, like he said beforehand, he's probably going to go into even lower people because, again, like you said, there's a ton of people that are in the Justice League that are either reserve members or have been past active members who occasionally come back. And
it's not that they're reserve members. It's just that the Justice League is so vast and there are so many things that they have to do at any given point in time.
But so you have listed as reserve members.
No, it's not that. If you've ever seen Justice League Unlimited, the Watchtower is just jam packed with Justice League members, and you have groups of them going off here and there and there. So I mean, there could be easily over 100 members of the Justice League on the Watchtower at any given time.
There could be.
There usually are,
but
we're not talking about the old-fashioned Super Friends Hall of Justice.
I'm not talking about that either. I'm just saying.
Well, I know, but still,
you have your main core, and then everything else that I've ever seen and I've ever read lists it as the rest of them, whether or not they're there or not, they're considered reserve members. They're active. They can be called upon at any time, but they're not the core members.
Well, no, the core is, the core, but still, I mean, to call them reserve members, I think isn't.
Well, that's like saying that the Army Corps, the reserved Army, isn't the Army. They are.
Yeah, but
they are reserved.
If you're in the reserves, you're usually at home until you're called upon. These people are in the Watchtower, getting, their training, they're doing their thing, and because they're not at any given time.
They don't necessarily. They're not necessarily all going to be. If they're not being called on at that moment, they're reserved.
We beating a dead horse.
I know, but it is what it is. But no, I don't think that Thanos is much of a problem for the Justice League. I mean, I'm just talking about the core members because, I mean, if he's going up against a core like we see in Infinity War and what we see in the movies with the Avengers, no, the core of Justice League is much stronger than the core of the Avengers. So, no.
Good deal. Yeah. Man, Mama Bear, you said you were taking your notes.
Yep.
Let's see what you say about this.
Hey, guys. Yeah, you guys know me. I'm like Sean. I'm a DC fan myself. Not that I don't know my Marvel, but yeah, for starters, yeah, of course he'd have a harder time if and I completely agree, he would have a harder time if at all he was able to get all of the stones. Because taking on the same concept from the Infinity War and all of that, they're scattered all over. Some of them were scattered in the universe, and that's when you start entering into the details of the Lantern Corps. And he's not getting past the just sheer horde of the Lantern Corps, which is not just Green Lanterns anymore. Which is why I'm saying it like that. But assuming he somehow manages to get them, he's in for a fight that he is not ready to handle. Because the Justice League is so vastly different. It's almost polar opposite to the Avengers, because the Avengers are essentially just a whole bunch of mortal men with one god level figure. Justice League's the exact opposite. You got Superman, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Martian Manhunter. I could go on and on. They're all god level. And you got Batman, who has the smarts of god level, and his key ability is actually knowing or learning how to exploit someone's weaknesses, how to take on people that are vastly stronger than him.
Yep. Batman, I mean, has taken on Darkseid and survived. He's the only human being that's done that.
Mm-hmm. And that, yeah.
And Darkseid would eat Thanos for lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and like I was saying with Bruce Wayne, Batman, however you want to put it, the second that they thought this was starting, like, we see it in the Marvel movies where they start, where he's going around and he's up to something. I'm sure somehow or another something would have gotten, like you said, the Lantern Corps. Somebody would have caught of Thanos trying to start something, and that's the moment Justice League says, "Okay, what is it? Why? What do we do?"
Pretty much.
So it starts before Infinity War, even that they would even be thinking about this. In fact, before he may know that he wants to go get a gauntlet, they might meet him where they make the gauntlet.
Well, and the thing is, the Justice League has the Watchtower, which sole purpose is to monitor threats, all around.
Exactly.
So they would have seen Thanos coming long, long before. But sorry, Mads, go ahead.
Sorry.
No, I'm with with you guys completely. And by the time that Thanos reached the end point of Earth, Bruce would have had a full contingency plan with backup plans for it. I mean, this is one of his biggest strengths, is that he is so damn paranoid. He's got plans for everybody in the Justice League, including himself. So, but he would have caught wind of it ages ago. He would have pieced it together as soon as the Infinity Stone started getting together, and he would have started making plans at that point. And as soon, everyone knows, you give him enough time, he will defeat anybody.
Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as Thanos just became a tiny little blip on his radar, he would start formulating plans after plans after plans.
Yep. And I'm going with the assuming, and I don't even, like I said, I don't think that he's even going to get to the snap, because Thor was the biggest threat to Thanos. And that's one god level character versus a whole team of them. And again, you mentioned about Flash, and he's not even the only one that has access to time travel. And how to create alternate theories. You got Dr. Fate, John Constantine. Many ways that they can shift things. Yeah. Basically, he's not going to win. He wouldn't even get to it.
So you on the same boat with Chris when you're saying that you don't even think Thanos would get more than one or two Infinity Stones? He wouldn't even be able to get all of them to on the Infinity Gauntlet. That's what you're saying.
Assuming he can get past the Legion of the Lantern Corps that's guarding the universe, he's not going to get to the snap.
Okay. Oh, you got?
Yep.
All right. Mr. Terrence. This is
Okay.
what I want to hear.
Okay. So how would you like me to break this down?
Any way you want to, bro.
All right. I guess what you can do is start with the question, and then I can go from there, so I can know where to direct my thoughts. So what are the questions?
First question is Thanos is the bad guy. Instead of the Avengers, he's taking on the Justice League. Will they be able to stop him in any shape, form, or fashion? Or will they be just as unsuccessful as the Avengers were in him acquiring the Infinity Stone?
Okay. What I think would happen is Batman would be the one to bring to the league's attention about Thanos, and whichever Green Lantern is there at the time will also mention to the league that he is aware of this Thanos, and more than likely you'll have a few other members that have heard of him, but he wasn't an immediate threat because he was so far off. So what would happen is the league would have to determine, okay, this guy is a threat. So how are we going to go about stopping him? And then that's when they would lay out like his goal. His goal is to, gather all the stones, and he wants to wipe out half the universe. With the speed of someone like Superman or the Flash or Green Lantern or even Shazam, and at the rate that they can run and fly, they would be able to get to the location of these stones before Thanos would even get to them. And let's assume that Thanos has one or two. Using the Speed Force, you could virtually get to any number of places in the universe in a matter of seconds. And because they are aware that he is going to go after the stones, he has now made all of his plans very predictable. It's only a matter of time before he goes after this stone and that stone. And with the power of Superman, this guy is, strong enough to defeat people like Doomsday, Darkseid, or even the Anti-Monitor, who has the power to destroy the entire DC multiverse.
Terrence, go into a little bit, if you would, of how badly Darkseid would beat the crap out of Thanos.
Oh well, Darkseid's ultimate power is that beyond God level, which is anything beyond of any sort of interpretation of Thanos. And because Superman can defeat him, and Thanos not being anywhere near on that power level, like just Superman alone, he would just find Thanos and then just end it with a punch. But realistically, what would happen is once the league is told about the power level of the stones and how this man is one of the few beings that can wield it, and his whole thing of wiping out half the universe, what you would really get is the entire league attacking him at the same time, which would lead to his defeat. Mm-hmm. So there wouldn't be so much necessarily, okay, this one character, Superman, Wonder Woman, or whoever you wish to name, would just attack him, because the league would all feel the importance of how they have to immediately get rid of this guy, because his plans are too insane just to lock him up or just to let him be. When you're trying to wipe out half the universe, that's usually not something that they deal with every Monday. This is a one of a kind person, so you have to give him a one of a kind ass whooping. So that's what I feel would happen. He would not get the stones. That's how I break down that. The whole league would attack him, and he would just be dealt with really in seconds, because just Superman alone is too much. But the whole league attacking him at once, he would be just turned to dust. Like how he does a snap and people turn to dust. There wouldn't be a speck of that guy left if the whole league attacks him at once.
Okay.
And then
let's go hypothetically, and somehow he's able to overcome those odds and get 6 Infinity Stones and puts on the gauntlet.
Okay.
Does his chances increase any better, or is he still in trouble?
Okay, so because you said that, I'll say it like this then. Thanos is successful in gathering all the stones, and he does the snapature, and he erases half of the universe.
No, he doesn't snap yet. He just
He doesn't
gathers the
snap yet?
stone.
Okay,
The
so
power of the gauntlet. Is he able to deal with the Justice League, or is he still going to have some problems?
so if he already has the stones, but he hasn't done the snap yet.
That's correct.
Okay, so if he has all the stones, then he will definitely be able to deal with the Justice League, because now he's beyond God level. He now can, wipe people from existence. He can now deal with Celestials, and someone like Superman, Wonder Woman, or Shazam, they don't have those abilities outright to instantly get rid of someone from existence. So him having all the stones would definitely allow him to win in a way that he would instantly be slaughtered without having all of the stones, or even if he had a couple, he would still be defeated fairly easily.
So let me get this right. So all the stones invincible. 2 or
Yeah.
3, 4, 5 stones beatable.
Yeah, like if he has anything short but all of them, he's getting destroyed.
Even if he
So-
had all of them, he still wouldn't eventually win.
Well, yeah, but I'm only going off of how he's breaking it down. Because when you have the ability to wipe out
breaking it
half
down
of existence,
I'm
Yeah.
breaking it down just like it happened in Avengers. He was going
Right,
after
right.
the stones. Then in Wakanda, he got all the stones. He hadn't
Mhm.
snapped yet.
right?
Then when Thor came, that's when he did the snap. I'm doing it just the same way with DC.
Okay, yeah. So what would happen is I believe that that you will have certain members of the league that would feel the power of the stones, which would essentially speed up their urgency to kill him immediately, because at that point you are a threat to the universe itself, and they're not going to decide that his life is worth sparing and risk the lives of half the universe, assuming that it works out in the way that they heard, because there could be the variables for all they know that he could wipe out the whole universe. But just the fact that it's a possibility, the level of attack that would be unleashed on him would be something that he had never even seen in his life. He wouldn't be able to comprehend it. So I think that would entice him to do the snap all the
Okay.
more faster.
All right. Let's
Okay.
say now he does the snap and he erases half of the DC universe. What do the Justice League do?
Okay, he does a snapature, and then half of the DC universe is gone. At this point, Batman will then assess any contingency plans that he has. And unfortunately,
Let's say Batman and Superman gone.
That's
Wonder
a
Woman.
that Superman could actually be snapped. You have to remember he's Kryptonian. He's not of human DNA.
Okay, wait, hold on. So Danny, what are you asking me? Because like I said, I'm trying to tackle this bit by bit.
I'm saying, let's say that he does a snap and he gets rid of half of the universe.
Yeah.
So, and Superman's one of the ones that disappear in the snap.
Okay. Before I get to that, if you're saying we're going by the movie, shouldn't Superman be there because he's a core Justice League member, just like the core Avengers were there after the snapature?
Let's say who's there. The 3 core. Okay, Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman are still there. Those are 3 core. Right? Thor, Iron Man, and Captain America. So those 3 are still there.
Yeah, because all of them were there. Cap was there, Thor, Iron Man, Professor Hulk, Hawkeye, and Black Widow. Like, they were all there.
Okay. But the core is still there.
Okay. So let's say the core is there, and then I'm not calling them reserves because that's not what they are. They're all official league members. The Justice League, if you, just by you being in the Watchtower, you can't even be there unless you're a member. Yeah. They don't allow that. Just wanted to throw that out there. But I think it's best that I go with what you said first and then go to this one. So you said before we get to the core members are still there. So you said that you want to do the whole Superman and who else is gone?
I want to keep it true to what the Avengers are in the game. 4 members are still there. what do they do?
Okay. So core members are still there. What would happen is that Batman would assess his contingency plans and realize that in that immediate moment, he does not have a plan for if half the universe is wiped out. Like that's too unpredictable, and there are different variables that it's impossible to plan for once it happens. So because half of the DC universe has been erased, what's going to happen, regardless of if they like it or not, the most powerful people in the DC universe will now pay attention to the situation. So you would get characters like the High Father from the New Genesis planet. He's the leader of that. That's the opposite of Apocalypse, which is, Darkseid's planet. So he would show up. You would get the attention of the DC God, who looks like the Monopoly guy. He would show up. You would get Spectre showing up. You would get the Phantom Stranger showing up. You would get Mr. Mxyzptlk showing up, because they're now just like, what is this? This is unusual. Like, even for us that we're used to really powerful characters, but we've never had someone just blip half the universe. So what's the problem? And they're going to demand answers. Now, in terms of the actual God, he will know, but the rest of them, they may have bits and pieces. So a lot of them will demand that they explain the situation. Once that happens, Mr. Mxyzptlk, he will normally show up if he believes that a scenario is fun and he can get something out of it. So the idea that he could possibly thwart what someone else did, in this case being Thanos, would greatly interest him, to the point to where he would probably beg the High Father, the God of the DC universe, Spectre, the Phantom Stranger, to deal with the situation without any of their help. Because technically, the God of the DC universe could just scratch his cheek and then it'll be like nothing ever happened. Complete reversal. So what would happen is, I think that Mr. Mxyzptlk would simply just ask them, okay, so Thanos is the problem. He gathered all the stones. So to my understanding, he does a snap and that allows him to wipe out half the universe. Has he been damaged in the process? What happened? They'll explain it. And then he'll go, okay, when and where did he do the snap? They will tell him, at which point he will blip them back to that moment. And in that moment, before he does the snapature, what's going to happen is Mxyzptlk will pause that entire reality, and he will tell them what they can do. You can either risk all attacking him at once with full power, which you will not be strong enough to do anything to him before he's able to snap. It's not good enough. So would you rather me intervene, or 6 other people that can just get rid of him on the spot? Because naturally, once he's done with you guys, he's going to try to come after us. Like, my power is enough to match the gauntlet and then some. Like, I don't need any effort to do the snap in the way that Thanos does for the gauntlet. And in that particular situation, he was only using 30 to 40% of the gauntlet's power anyway. There's steps to this, and it also depends on his willpower and determination. It's all situational based, which is what most people do not know. It's all based upon the situation. How much does Thanos want it? And since he did the snap, he's not going to want any more. So Mr. Mxyzptlk, what's going to happen is the Justice League won't have to do anything. I think that he would just completely get rid of Thanos on his own, because he thinks it's funny and he can have some fun out of it.
Probably.
Okay.
He's an imp. I mean, they
Very,
like
very in-depth and thorough assessment.
Okay, adding on to his thought though, assuming that if we assume that Batman, it does make the snap because he is a core member. Safe to say, Robin won't.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you start getting into the really dark night.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Emotional. Either Robin won't or Alfred or somebody.
Yeah,
Lois might not make the
close
snap.
to him will not make the
Steve
snap.
Trevor
and that's
won't make
when
the snap.
lose
Now, Danny, there's another part that I would like to break down just in this whole what if scenario that I feel is important.
All right.
The battle sequence at the end of Endgame, when you have Thanos, his generals, and his army.
Mhm.
What would happen with that is you would have Superman fighting Thanos, and then the rest of the core members, and it would just only be need to be the core members. You don't have to have as many characters as what you had at the end of Endgame. Really, the core members can handle that entire situation. What you would get is, like, Green Lantern alone would use his power to completely put Thanos' basic army into a bubble, compact it, and crush them instantly, which would leave Thanos and his generals. Like Cole Obsidian and Proxima Midnight would be dealt with by Shazam and Wonder Woman. They would just handle them, which would leave Ebony Maw and Corvus Clave. Okay, so whatever members of the League are not fighting at that time, they will just rush those two. Ebony Maw would be a problem in the sense of his magic, but that's why they would rush him and not allow him to do anything, because everything that he does power-wise, it does take a bit of time, but they have the strength and speed to make sure that that doesn't even become a factor. In Corvus Clave, he has to hold his scythe in order to be alive. You know, as long as that thing is actually still intact, he can keep coming back to life. So in the bit of the attack, without them knowing about that, what would happen is they would accidentally break his weapon, which would kill him instantly. So his army, his core generals will be dealt with, and then what you would have is Superman probably trying to talk to Thanos and let him know, hey, you don't have to do this. And then Thanos is gonna be like, nah, like, I gotta do this, balance. And then Superman, his eyes are gonna turn red. He's gonna act like he's gonna do the heat vision, but we gonna hear that line that he says, yep, you know, I have had enough. And then he's gonna do that punch that he did to the Anti-Monitor, and that will be the end of Thanos. There's no need to do what Tony did and sacrifice yourself and snap them all away. The sheer force, power, and the analytical skills of the League will allow them to destroy Thanos and his army all the more quicker in that situation. So what I'm saying is, the audience had time to cheer while they were watching Endgame, because it was a long battle and stuff, and it broke off into different phases. You had Scarlet Witch having Thanos up in the air and pissing him off. You don't get to see all that. In that situation, the universe is at stake. The Justice League will deal with that in a matter of seconds. At longest, maybe 2 minutes. That's maybe.
All right, good deal. Sean Stackhouse, you're next, sir.
He ran away.
Okay, well, I'll jump in. I did not realize that everyone thought that much more powerhouse than Avengers. I didn't think it was going to be as easy as we can say, but listening to what all y'all saying and putting together a little bit from each one of y'all, I'm tend to agree that they would. I'm not saying they would prevent him from getting the stones. I'm not going to be that presumptuous, but I think that if he did get the stones, that they would have more than enough people to handle it. Superman, of course. If they had to do the time travel thing, Flash got that covered. I'm very intrigued with them. I can't say it like Terrence Mitchell-Pillick or his name, but I know that his power is as much of a match for Thanos. Just didn't know how he would be swung to the good side, because, as we know, none of the evildoers were involved in the Endgame. It was all the heroes. So if they get Mixopillic on their side, then I definitely think he will be going to sway the balance in their favor, because it's my understanding that the fifth power is very hard, is a very powerful thing. It's hard to be matched. Superman, of course, he's said earlier he done went to heaven and slapped God and went to hell and pissed in the devil's coffee. So I mean, kill that sucker for nothing. Batman always said he is the most dangerous man to me in the DC universe. So I definitely think he would be the equivalent to Tony Stark. Figure something out. He'd be able to read the tea leaves and use his detective knowledge and know-how, and his gadgets and computer and all that kind of stuff, and figure out a way to come up to exploit Thanos' weakness, whatever they may be. So I am inclined to agree with the group that Justice League would definitely do it. And I'm not going to say they're not what he wouldn't get the 6 Infinity Stones, but I think if he was to get them, that they could handle that situation in a much better and more quicker fashion than the Avengers.
Danny, did you say? Did I hear that right? Were you saying something about Thanos' weakness? Was it?
I said that Batman would be able to exploit whatever weakness he's found out that Thanos had.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, and he clearly has one.
Yeah,
and he has a need for approval, specifically from a female. So yeah,
I'm saying like how Iron Man is able to put stuff together. Batman, Iron Man, and here are well, not equal, but they're going to be playing kind of similar roles. I think Batman is superior in intellect than Iron Man is, and he would definitely be able to figure something out and exploit not only Thanos' weakness, but his generals as well.
Just occurred to me, there's also a factor that all of us actually kind of forgot to add in, because the whole destruction of half the universe, that starts getting into Lex's territory.
Oh,
and that interferes with Lex's main goal of, protecting Lex.
That's going to piss Lex off.
Yeah.
I did not.
That's when you start getting the bad guys teaming up with the Justice League.
Well, here's the thing. Number one, I did not forget about Lex at all. Number two, Mr. Mxyzptlk is not teaming up with the good guys. He's merely in a situation to have fun. That's actually just one of the many possible scenarios that I could have said, and that was right off the top of my head. Because if I were to have like maybe 2 hours to explain this, I can give you countless scenarios of how that would happen.
And he can't.
Negative.
Trust me.
No, 2 hours a night explaining.
But you're wearing them down. He said 2, not 10. So
that's true.
No, I did 3.5 of them yesterday, so we're not doing 3.5 tonight. All right, Sean, next, sir.
All right. So I went about compiling a list that's, excluded Superman, because I feel like Superman is a crutch for a lot of people, even though Superman could handle his business with Thanos pretty easily.
Well, it's not a crutch when it's a part of the question. I mean, he's a part of the Justice League, so it's
I know, but the question did not specifically say this was movie based. I just reread it like 3 times. So,
yeah, but what I'm saying is you can go that route. You don't have to go that route.
I know, but I chose to go with like maybe lesser known Justice League members, and then also some well, not necessarily lesser known, but lesser utilized. So first of all, Shazam, a fight between Shazam and Thanos would be extremely messy, but Thanos wouldn't stand a chance without his gauntlet. So this is assuming he doesn't have his gauntlet yet when it comes to Shazam. Okay. Green Lantern, Thanos' strength is great, but they are no match for the will of Hal Jordan in particular. Hal Jordan has one of the strongest wills of all Green Lanterns. Now, like Mad said, if we're talking about the entire Lantern Corps, then, again, it's over, before it even begins. Wonder Woman just by herself, I know there have been a lot of iterations of Wonder Woman, but Wonder Woman right now, she is the daughter of Zeus, which makes her a demigod, but she's far more than that. As an Amazonian princess, she possesses skills and fighting abilities that go unmatched across the entirety of the DC universe. Wonder Woman has made Superman see little birdies, above his head. She's punched him so hard into buildings, and, it's just, the woman is a force to be reckoned with. Now, the Flash is also, he's pretty much the ace, in the sleeve. The Flash has one thing he can use to advantage against the Mad Titan, and that's his ability to change timelines, or basically time travel. So his speed, when cranked to a maximum, allows him to move through time, which is a reliable and proven method to defeat Thanos, or at least undo what he did. So, say worst case scenario happens. Say Thanos snaps, and the Flash is not one that has been snapped. The Flash can go back before everything happened. He can tell everybody what went wrong, and then they could move forward doing that. Now, this is one thing that, or one person that no one mentioned, and I'm really surprised that Terrence didn't mention him. But Swamp Thing, his strength is immense, and he could easily overwhelm Thanos. Were he to step foot on.
Did I mention a part to where I had a million different scenarios? Did I mention that? Or
Yes,
Oh, yes, of course you
Okay.
do.
John has stuff in his ear. He doesn't hear everything everybody says.
Well, yeah, but he didn't specifically mention him, so I was just shocked. But anyway, back to my point. You know, if Thanos were to step foot on Earth and face him, it would be all over. Swamp Thing isn't limited to Earth either. He can engage in battle with Thanos across the cosmos as long as some planets exist. And finally, and this guy could do it by himself. Spectre. Spectre was literally made by DC's resident God himself and can manifest as God's wrath in any mortal body when needed. The most similar superhero to Spectre in Marvel Comics is Captain Universe, someone who can also beat Thanos. So that's my list. Those are my go-to guys right now for Thanos.
Now, Sean, because you mentioned Swamp Thing, I must say the likelihood of Swamp Thing joining them is very slim without John Constantine convincing him to do so.
Well, I thought about that too. But if Swamp Thing happened to see like an Earth, or at least Earth-threatening scenario coming to Earth, Swamp Thing may also maybe consider that if Thanos means to do the Earth harm, he also might mean to do the plant life harm too.
This is true, but I'm only factoring in the number of times that, number one, he said no to John Constantine. Like John Constantine had to win him over. And number two, he has said no to the Justice League on many occasions, even when it included plant life. I'm just saying.
Right. You're right. But, I think that if Swamp Thing saw somebody like Thanos and say the JLA, say some of the members were being taken out like this, I don't think Swamp Thing would just sit by and let it happen. No,
definitely not. But I'm just saying, like, we have to be realistic based on all the stuff I just said with his reluctance to participate.
He would definitely be reluctant, but I think if it came down to it, I think Swamp Thing would definitely throw his hat into the ring and beat the crap out of Thanos.
Now, another scenario that's even more realistic and quicker than anything that Swamp Thing can do, you can just have John Constantine use his magic to teleport all the gems straight to him, and then they could just be destroyed.
That's very true.
Like I said, if we wanted to let
the possibilities are endless here.
That's what I'm saying. If you want to let Terrence sit here for the next, how long is your longest stream, Terrence?
The longest one that I've ever done, I think, is 4 hours.
I think we could be here for 4 hours, and he's still.
We almost did beat that yesterday, Terrence.
Yeah, we did. We were at 3 hours and 32 minutes and 29 seconds. Was it?
Yep.
But listen, if you wanted to include Superman in this list, Superman is almost as fast as the Flash. So say you had everybody that I listed off fighting against Thanos, okay? And say Thanos was still not in possession of the Infinity Stones. Superman, I believe, could hold the Infinity Stones in his hand because he is essentially a god. Superman could zip all around the earth, like this, collect all the Infinity Stones, and potentially even crush them in his hand. So,
and you're right, Sean. And let me just throw this in there to solidify that being facts. As you know, there was a moment where Superman and Wonder Woman lifted the Book of Infinite Pages, which was said to be impossible, and it was said to weigh an infinity amount of pounds. So even though
yeah, they both lifted like half of infinity, which is still infinity.
Yeah, exactly. So, man, he would hold them stones like they were Skittles. Come on,
Yep.
like,
He might even eat them so he could taste the rainbow. You don't know.
right? He might be like, "Dang, that was a supplement, Thanos. What was that?" And then Thanos would get all mad, like,
Yep. Yeah, and that's if
Oh
you
my
wanted to
God.
use Superman. If you wanted, but you don't have to use Superman.
Oh
You know,
my God.
there are so many
This
people.
is a bad question.
No.
No.
See, the thing is, Danny. The thing is, the DC characters
Oh my
are
God.
actually so much like way more overpowered than the Marvel characters.
Yeah.
And Terrence can back me up on that. I'm sure even Mads can back me up on that.
Oh yeah.
oh yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, look at the core Avengers and look at the core Justice League.
Yeah.
Like, my mom, she knows jack shit about comics, and even she would tell you in an instant the Justice League they're just too powerful. She's even said that to me. They're too powerful. How can anyone fight them? Well, there's an answer to that, Mom. Other DC characters.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Also, I mean, the Flash is so fast. He could take that if before Thanos got all of the Infinity Stones, he could potentially take the gauntlet off of Thanos' hand without Thanos even knowing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's assuming Thanos actually managed to get to the snap. As soon as his hand was in position, Flash would be gone.
Mm-hmm.
He'd be running back to rewind things.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah.
And let's not forget the fact that the Flash can phase through things. You know, I mean,
Sean, I'm pretty sure you and everyone else noticed why I did not use Flash time traveling for a reason. And the reason why is because they are smart enough to know you don't pull that shit that Professor Hulk was talking about in Endgame, which is why I specifically mentioned the most powerful characters of the DC universe. They will be put in a position to where you don't have to worry about all that, because that affects their plans to Flash going to do something that will change the reversal of something that infected half of the universe.
There is a big possibility that Barry, Wally, whoever would go back and screw something else up.
Which
and
he would be
exactly
stopped.
why I used the word if.
Yes.
Let me ask this now.
Not going to get to it though. Sorry.
Got a question. Based on what y'all saying, and I'm not saying I disagree with what y'all saying. Steppenwolf is stronger than Thanos.
No. Steppenwolf is strong enough to fight Thanos, but Thanos at his peak would be enough to kill Steppenwolf for this reason only, because he was able to fight a full power Odin and Galactus and walk away and just go, I'll come back tomorrow. You know, I kind of banged up my shoulder. Man, I think of it in like the terms of a boxing match. Like, you go 10 rounds, and then by the end of that, Thanos will be victorious with the TKO. That's how that would go.
Okay. The reason why I'm asking is because, correct me if I'm wrong, in Justice League, they couldn't beat Steppenwolf until they resurrected Superman. Correct?
Right.
Yeah, that was written a certain way so that the audience would, the regular person that doesn't read anything, so they can understand how powerful Steppenwolf is. Because you never want to make a movie to where someone shows up and then they get beat in 2 seconds, like how you had with Captain Marvel. You never want to do that shit. That's bad writing.
Okay, I just want to make sure my logic is right. Without Superman, they couldn't beat Steppenwolf, but Thanos can beat Steppenwolf. That's what you just said, right?
Correct. At his maximum potential.
But we're talking about in the realms of the Justice League movie, which is not comic accurate.
Yeah.
True. They were missing some key core.
I'm just trying to get my train of thought, because that's not making sense to me.
Now bear in mind, Steppenwolf in the comics is more powerful than in the movie.
Yeah.
But Thanos' peak potential, comic book wise, is enough to beat Steppenwolf. Now, if he does that, then what would happen is Darkseid would come down and smack him, and it'd be just pure death, because you can't do that.
Keep in mind, like I said before, Batman has gone toe-to-toe against Darkseid, who is basically the ruler of Steppenwolf. So, you know, there is no reason to the fact that Batman could not take care of Steppenwolf along with Aquaman and Wonder Woman in that movie just really pissed me off, because that's just not how it is.
Well,
You telling me now, and I'm a Batman fan. Batman, you saying Batman can stand his own by himself against Thanos?
Darkseid.
No, I'm actually with Thanos.
Oh, okay. So what are you asking specifically, so I can answer it, Danny?
Okay, just now Sean just said that Batman's the only human to go toe to toe with Darkseid. And y'all saying Darkseid could crush Thanos. So you mean to tell me that Batman could defeat? Now I saw on the animated show that Batman was able to dodge one of the Omega beams.
Yeah.
But to beat Darkseid one-on-one by himself?
Well, here's the thing though. Okay. when humans tell you, Danny, that Batman has dealt with these powerful characters, he has, but what's missing is what he did in the situation. What he did was, Batman has taken a punch from Doomsday. He's taken a punch from Darkseid. He's taken a punch from Steppenwolf. He's taken a punch from Swamp Thing. Like any number of super powerful DC characters, he has been hit by at one point or another. What happens after that is really important, because usually he falls back until he comes up with a plan, which usually involves other members of the league that can physically take on those people. Yeah. Because he's not going to just stand there and be like, I'm Batman's the dark side. And man, he ain't going to just sit there trading blows with them like he's Ra's al Ghul. Like Batman would get murdered. Like,
yeah, that's why I said, that Batman, and again, I'm not saying that they're the same, but Batman, Bruce Wayne, and Tony Stark and Iron Man are similar as far as what we're talking about here. They're both smart. They both make their own toys, their tech, whatever. But the difference is that Tony Stark just doesn't care. He's going to go in and he's going to fight it. And he's going to stay there. And he's going to get his ass handed to him.
And you also got to mention the huge difference. And the huge difference being, you remove Bruce Wayne from his suit and you remove Tony. Tony has, at best, boxing and jiu-jitsu skills. Yeah. Batman knows every single form of fighting. This is a man that can have his back broken by Bane, tossed in a shallow grave, go 2 weeks without food and water, come out of the grave, and beat a fully healthy Bane on Venom. Mm-hmm. If you compare that to Tony out of his suit, where he can beep, 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 do a couple of calculations and impress Professor Hulk, that's nothing. Yeah. So realistically, while there are some similarities, Bruce Wayne is way above Tony in his natural physical and mental capabilities.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. Also, if you go back to that Justice League where Batman was dodging Darkseid's Omega beams, he also in the course of dodging his Omega beams, he also outsmarted Darkseid and he blew up his palace.
Yeah, he did do that.
So Batman's always like 2 or 3 steps ahead mentally. He might be fighting you and like drawing your attention to him, but in the process, he's also doing something else that you can't tell. You can't see what he's doing. Correct.
Which means that victory can come about many different ways. Mm-hmm. You don't necessarily have to physically beat the person, but you can outsmart them. You can have someone else do it. This is all about his intellect. Batman is not stupid. He knows if he can physically take on someone or not. And if he does go up against someone like Superman or whoever you want to name, he has had conditions in place to temporarily weaken them, because his natural strength is higher than theirs should they be weakened in any particular situation.
Yep.
Which is when we see him well on people like Superman. He's like breaking his arm. He picks him up and he tosses Superman like he's a box of cereal, even though he weighs 220 pounds. Like, I'm like, yo, Batman, stop cheating. Like, I'm just saying.
Yep. Yeah. So, I mean, I think easily the Justice League could like they could like be all sleeping with their fuzzy slippers and stuff. They could wake up and still be in their pajamas and their hair is all a mess and stuff, and they could go outside and they could deal with Thanos half awake. you know, I don't think Thanos would be much of a threat to the Justice League, to be completely honest.
Okay. Well,
I mean,
we are
yeah.
we are all of the consensus that vendors are so far behind it can't even see them in the rear view mirror as it relates to defeating Mad Titan we call and know as Thanos. The Justice League is far superior based on what everybody said here on the panel. I have no reason to argue or disagree with anybody's points. I thought it was gonna be a little bit more of a cultural fight, but it seemed like it's just not even a fair race. So, having said that, I'm going to let thank you. I'm going to let everybody make their final statements. Keep it brief. Go around and continue your final brief. Tell the people where they can find you at, and we'll go from there. I want to start with Maz Mama Bear. Any final quotes or anything, thoughts?
Honestly, I think we covered it pretty well. I still maintain I think the League of Doom would wind up getting involved as well, because ending the universe or half the universe does kind of cut into their main goal. You know, it's always looking out for number one.
Oh, the Legion of Doom?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, if the Legion of Doom was involved and they teamed up with the Justice League, oh, geez.
Yeah, Lex and Bruce Wayne working on the same side together.
And you got Lex and his
that's a scary thought.
You got his like super friends exosuit thing going on, you know?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that's basically that's my end thought.
Mr. Knight, what's your final thoughts on the matter, sir?
Well, Terrence and Sean basically said, Terrence more to the point that you could go on forever with this. There are a lot of members to the Justice League, however you want to define them, active, I mean, not active, but reserve, whatever. There are a ton of members of the Justice League, and there are a ton of them by themselves that could handle this. Maybe not so swiftly and easily as somebody like Spider-Man, of Superman. And like I said, Batman would be more the game plan type person. I'm not positive. I think he could do it by himself, but he'd probably have a bit of a time with it. But like Terrence said, they're giving it just one way is, I mean, which way you want to do it? And like I said, I think we all basically said, I don't think he gets the stones. And like Terrence said, I mean, really, it could be seconds into it and it could be over.
Chris, not to cut you off, but Killer Keller said something. He said, imagine Superman with the Infinity Gauntlet.
They already have something like that. It's called Strange Visitor Superman. He was the Infinity Gauntlet times 10.
Okay.
Just let me interject for a second. Night, Lorena.
Oh yeah, good night, Lorena.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, I went, yeah, okay, whatever Sean wants to say, I went easy, whatever. It doesn't, I mean, the point is that
I didn't say you went easy.
Well, but what you're saying is, I mean, and what I'm saying is you took a different approach to it. I'm just going right off the start with the main core members right there. I mean, and like you guys all said, they're just
well, I mean, of course, if you go with like the core Justice League, you're never going to go wrong.
No, but that's what I'm saying is like you just start there.
Yeah.
And it's not like it gets any better for him. I mean, in fact, truthfully, they would, if they were this type of group, they could leave the stones in different places and say, okay, try again if you want. And just go down the line and let it keep happening and stop them every time.
I mean, they wouldn't even have to do that because I think between Shazam and Superman, they could dust those gems.
If you suggested to the league that we're going to scatter them just to have them find it, and then we can stop them again, that sounds dangerously something like what Mr. Mitzik Pitalik would do, and you would be fired from the league immediately.
I'm not saying that they would do it. I said you could if you wanted to.
I know. I just wanted to say that.
It sounds just like what he would say. I'm not saying you should. I'm just saying you.
Right. No, I got you, Chris. I just wanted to say that because I'm picturing their reaction to that. Like, this guy. Like,
what the hell?
Well, now we know who Chris would be in the DC universe. So.
Yep.
Hey, that's a great character to be, Chris. So
Chris,
that
no problems with that.
Chris would be an imp for life.
You know, it happens.
All right, Sean, what's your final thoughts on the question, sir?
Man, this is actually one of my favorite questions we've had so far, man, because you know, I was able to, I didn't want to give you the like the well-known Justice League members. I wanted to dig a little bit deeper just to kind of shine a light on some of the members that don't get credit enough, you know, because they're also powerhouses in their own right. Finally, I just wanted to let everybody know that tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern time, we're going to be over at my channel for the Chaos List. Chris, Danny, and I. All of this stuff, like Chris said in the beginning, all of this stuff is going to be over on the Chaos Central channel as soon as we get up to 100 subs. So please, the link is down in the chat. So sub to that, and that would make Danny, Chris, and I very happy.
In fact, Killer said, "What would be a good even match for Justice League?" Not a big comic person, not
any core villain team in DC, in any one of those.
The Hall of Doom versus the Hall of Justice.
Any of that kind of stuff, or you can do a singular villain. Like if you do just say Snarfleeze, from example, the only Orange Lantern, he alone could take on the entire Justice League by himself.
That guy is bad.
Yes.
I'll put a scary one for you. Evil Batman from a different universe.
Ooh.
The Batman from the current universe would be the one to deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That alone would be, that'd be a fantastic movie to watch. A dark world Batman versus the Justice League.
So maybe Thomas Wayne in Flashpoint.
No,
Versus
it would
his
be
son?
like Owlman. Owlman is actually the evil version of Batman in DC.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, I was saying like I'd like to see his dad, Thomas Wayne, in that alternate universe from Flashpoint.
Oh yeah, Thomas
Versus-
Wayne did not take any prisoners, man. That guy was violent.
Yep.
Yeah, he was.
He was
Yeah,
like snapping necks, like busting heads. The dude, he didn't care.
Yeah, he was quick to react, which was something that made him cool, but it was also his biggest weakness. That is the huge difference between him and his son, Bruce Wayne, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Terrence, what are your final thoughts? Brief final thoughts.
Right. Yeah, no, I don't have 80 hours to go through all these different scenarios. But you know, in terms of Crisis on Infinite Earths, when you had the Anti-Monitor destroy the multiverse, and you had three universes left, the villains got together from all those respective universes, and they killed as many heroes as they could find because they wanted to be the ones to take out the Anti-Monitor and just rule the remainder of the multiverse. So in the situation like that, you know, if I have a hard time believing that they're going to just kindly work with these heroes, I'm like, no. As soon as they turn their back, they're going to kill them or try to, and then just take on Thanos themselves. Like, that's what they do. So at least in like Mxyzptlk's case, like, I'm like, well, he's an asshole and he's pretty predictable in the sense that you know that he wants to have fun and then he will leave after that. He just has a tendency to really mess with powerful people, which is why he annoys Superman all the time. Like, what do you want, sir? Like, go away. But yeah, you know, that's pretty much it. I mean, from everything that I said, you know, I picture it going that way realistically, and you know, the stuff that everyone else said is very interesting, and you know, man, we could just do this forever. I got facts for days, so yeah.
Okay, good deal. And I'm just going to really echo what everyone else said. It's really not a comparison. It's really not even a competition. DC characters, for the most part, have superior heroes,
You know,
and villains. I love Marvel. I love some of the heroes. As it relates to just their power and sheer determination and skill set, I gotta lean towards DC. I only hope that DC can catch up to Marvel in the real world comic book movies. It'd be very, very interesting to see crossover like that. Hopefully, we'll see it in our lifetime. I'm not sure we will, but I would definitely want to see a Marvel DC crossover. Very, very interesting.
That would be cool. I'd love to see that.
Yeah, I don't want the whole DC catching up to Marvel in terms of the movies because they can't do that. I mean, the MCU has like 24 movies and they have the
Yeah, no,
public
I'm just
trust.
saying.
But
I just want to
mean,
I just wanted to be better movies. I mean,
Mhm.
Justice League should have been a equivalent
right.
to me of Infinity War or either even competing against Endgame, but it didn't. So
You're right.
I want them to fix that.
Didn't make $1 billion. You're absolutely right about that. My brain still doesn't know how to process that. How the fuck does a Justice League movie fail? But what they should do is just concentrate on making good movies and have them be compelling and different. And then at that point, people will start to turn their heads like, okay, we got the compelling stories here. We got a different flavor. And you want to make sure that there's a consistency. That way you can consistently have people going in to watch the movies instead of picking and choosing. Because they don't pick and choose with MCU. There's an MCU movie, people show up. That's what you want to happen with the DC movies instead of let's go see Joker and nobody go sees Birds of Prey. You don't want that kind of stuff happening.
Yeah.
But
Very well said.
the difference is the MCU started by building characters, and that's where the main reason that they went wrong with Justice League. It was too soon to do a team up movie.
Mm-hmm.
They needed
right.
to build. They needed to do the Flash. They needed to build to do the Cyborg movie.
To be
Wonder Woman, Aquaman, they're individual character movies. Those are the ones they're excelling at. And that's what they need to work on more to build up the excitement for a team up movie.
I get what you're saying, and like I've heard so many humans say that, but I feel like the reason why that part of the conversation is brought up is because most people don't like their movies, at least not consistently. If you make a good movie, it changes the conversation. Like if Warner Brothers like they started their movie universe with Justice League instead of Man of Steel and it was a great movie, nobody would be saying that because you would have nothing to say against a great movie. You just have to make a great movie. You don't have to necessarily do build up movies. You just have to make a great movie and no one has anything to say.
I'm just saying for some of the characters, they for people who aren't like the group of us, kind of the muggles of the DC universe. You toss in people like Cyborg. Most people don't know who Cyborg is. Or some of the other ones. Show them why these people are exciting.
Yeah, that's true, and I agree with that part. But you can do that by having them be in a great movie because if you make a great movie or a masterpiece, if it's really compelling and it has something to say, and it's not just about making you cheer and flashy backflips and stuff like that, then people will want to be interested in a Cyborg or a Mystic Pitalik or whoever you put in there because they got them in a quality movie.
Yeah.
But you do something like Justice League, nobody cares.
I think if we keep going, he's going to mute us.
Chris, tell people where they can find you at, sir.
Yeah, you can find me at The Real Review 3000 on YouTube. Find me at Twitter at Chris Knight 5150. And like Sean and myself have been mentioning, you can find us over on Chaos Central webs or YouTube. As soon as we get enough people on there, we'll start broadcasting these shows from there. Yeah, but check me out. I'm now, let me double check and see. Sorry, I have to. Should have done this. Should have been on this already. I think I'm now 102 away from 1,000. Yeah, I'm 102 away from 1,000. So, if two of you were the ones that came and subscribed during this, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
I got you. Sean Stackhouse, tell the people they can find you, sir.
Yeah, you can find me at Sean Stackhouse Reacts on YouTube and Sean Stackhouse on Twitter. I'm also on Instagram, and I have a Facebook page that I don't spend enough time on like I should, but that should be Sean Stackhouse Reacts as well.
And Mad, where people can find you, lady.
Hey guys, Mads Mama Bear. You guys can find me at Mads Mama Bear on Twitter and on YouTube. And this Thursday, I'll also be on According to Christie's channel. Thursday, 9 p.m. 9:30 Eastern. And it's going to be an awesome episode. And I have to say, Killer Color, I completely agree. Going back, I'm actually liking Ezra Miller's Flash, but the running is just
yeah,
right.
The run. Teach the boy to run, and it will all be okay.
I had to agree with them. Yeah, if they fix the running, and we're fine. But yeah, Thursday 9:30 According to Christie. Hope to see you guys there. It's going to be an awesome episode.
Cool.
Yeah, good deal. And Mr. Terrence, tell the people they can find you, sir.
What's up, humans? It's Terrence. If you go to the Tremaine Terrence channel, that's where you can find me, a channel I share with my brother. But, more importantly than my channel, I think that you should subscribe to everyone on the panel because they're all wonderful people and they have some really cool content. And I think that you will be able to appreciate them as much as I do. At least that's what I'm hoping anyway. So, to take your asses over there and check out their channels.
Thank you, sir. I am Danny. This is my channel, Comet Chat. You can find me on Twitter at Comet Chat with the S. I'm 1/3 of the members of the Khaotic Central channel that we're trying to put together. Myself, Sean, and Chris. Tonight's show is called The Khaotic Conversation. As you can see, it was a lot of different conversations, a lot of different opinions. But we all, at the end of the day, agree that DC is superior. Please catch my show every Monday night at 9 p.m. Standard Time. I try to come up with different topics of conversation. I don't know what I'm going to do for next Monday. I'm going to have to think on it. I thought this was a very intriguing and interesting question. Also, you can catch me on Sean's show tomorrow night, the Chaos List. And also, you can catch us on Sunday at 3 p.m., if I'm not mistaken, for the Rule of Three, which is our weekending show. Also, Chris has a show on Thursdays called The Weekly Rumble. It's an entertaining show. Check that out. And also, me and Terrence are venturing into something that we're going to try to do on Sunday afternoons as well. This past Sunday, what I do is I put out a poll each week, and we discuss that poll, and it kind of grows organically into a conversation. The last conversation yesterday lasted 3.5 hours. So please, you're trying to think of a name. Yeah, I sent him a bunch of names yesterday. He hadn't told me one that he liked yet, but I said on Sunday afternoons, probably sometime 5:30, somewhere in that time frame, and then we're gonna roll with the flow from there. But again, I want to thank everybody for coming on the show tonight. I appreciate participation. I appreciate everyone on the chat. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please do so. Please share the link. If you have not shared the link, and do it. I need that. My goal is to reach 1,500 subscribers by Father's Day, which is the third Sunday in June. Also, I want you to hit the notification bell. I don't want you to miss any material that I upload. And also, I want you to give me the like button and please leave a comment. Any comment that anyone leaves, I always respond. It may not be that same day, but I will respond to you in a day or two. Turnaround, guaranteed. So again, thanks for supporting my show. Good to have you there, and we will see you next week.